And here to present the award is his daughter, Kelly Milloy. Kelly? Yeah.
I'll get nervous and drop it.
No, don't worry about it.
Thank you so much for having us. Can you guys hear me okay? Actually, before I begin my introduction, I have to say, I think Dominique left, but she's coming back, but I practiced at Hills Gymnastics, and I was a terrible gymnast, but she was my hero when I was growing up, so it was really fun to see her, so I'm gonna have to get a picture afterwards. I'll tell her later. So now on to Coach Milloy. He is my dad, obviously. I'm the youngest of three children. My older brothers, Brendan and Robbie, and I were all lucky enough to play for him. They played football, and then I played lacrosse for a couple years. And being the child of a coach and growing up on the football field was certainly not your typical upbringing. Had a lot of fun on Friday Night Lights. But you get an inside look as to how much work it takes off the field to make the plays that happen on the field. And I remember growing up how the coaching staff met at our house every Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Sunday nights, they came over around 7 o'clock, and then Monday and Tuesday after practice. But they would, we'd divvy up the food, the dinner, and then they would all file on downstairs. And they would work until the wee hours of the morning, pretty much, pretty late at night. So they became like family to us. My favorite memories, I would go down to say goodnight and, kiss them on the cheek and say goodnight, and I'd get goodnight, from 8 of my extra dads, which was pretty funny. So it was kind of like 3 men and a baby meets Remember the Titans. It was kind of fun. So those memories are very special to me and my brothers. And I realize how much time and effort all the coaches that they put into each season, not just at practice and in those meetings, but it was truly like a 24/7, all year round job. It never ended. It was always on his mind. Another fun memory that I have is just how it was always the strategy was always there. He was always thinking of plays, always perfecting the 87 belly that we were talking about earlier, but he had a sticky pad on his dashboard, and he still does. And every time he would think of a play, he would either drive and just, write the play while he was driving. He would draw it out, or he would pull over and draw it out just so he could get it down and he wouldn't forget it. And just remember how manic that was. I'm like, how did we not get in more accidents with him doing that? So as his daughter, so one of the things I'm most impressed by, and I haven't really told him this, was how he was able to take 3 different football programs who all had losing records before and bring them into champions, which was pretty cool. So he started his head coaching career. He was at DeMatha first, but he started his head coaching career at Walt Whitman in 1970. Then he left to go to Springbrook in 1974, where he coached for 18 years. And then he moved to Sherwood in 1992, where he coached my brothers and myself, me in lacrosse, obviously. And then after retiring from Sherwood and Montgomery County Public Schools in 2001, he concluded his career at Good Counsel from 2001 to 2016. So it was a long time. Now, as his daughter, I don't like to boost his ego too much, but I thought I'd highlight some accomplishments throughout those years. He won 12 championships, holding the record for most Maryland state championships, 8 in total with the public school system. It's pretty cool. 6 at Springbrook and then 2 at Sherwood. And then the other 4 were consecutive WCAC championships at Good Counsel, while being ranked #1 in the Post all 4 years, which was never done before and has not been done since. He holds the record for the most victories in Maryland history at 405 wins. He's coached 32 teams that were ranked in the Washington Post top 20 lists, including 8 #1 ranked teams. He's been named Coach of the Year by the Washington, D.C. Touchdown Club, named Coach of the Year 18 times by various D.C. media outlets, and nominated for National Coach of the Year, and then named recently, a couple years ago, to the Washington, D.C. Sports Hall of Fame in 2016, among many other accolades. And finally, I'd be remiss to not mention that during that time, he snagged my mom as his wife, which is a pretty big accomplishment. He taught algebra for 41 years, was a pretty successful girls softball coach at Springbrook for 11 years, and he won the championship with them every year, so 11 championships with them as well. And then stepped in to coach my lacrosse team at Sherwood for 2 years, where we won our division both times, and he didn't even know how to hold a lacrosse stick, which was pretty funny. So without further ado, please help me in congratulating my father, Bob Milloy.
Good job.
Actually, the slideshow of my daughter, I don't have anything else to say. It's been said, but I do want to thank my daughter for the wonderful introduction, and of course to thank the Montgomery County Council for getting this thing off the ground. Trish in particular, for all the hard work. I know I talked to her and emailed her probably 30 times in the last 2 weeks. A lot of work and by a lot of people, and it's a great, great idea that's going to get bigger and bigger because there is an awful lot of people that should be or will be in this organization before it's all over. And I'm having a little trouble seeing this. We'd like to congratulate all the other inductees, especially the next one, Mr. Sean Springs, because I had the privilege of coaching him, and without him, I probably wouldn't even be standing here. But seriously, and I'm having trouble reading my handwriting on top of that, to be really, when I heard about this and to be placed in this inaugural group, you know, with 3 professional athletes and 2 gold medal winners, I mean, it's like surreal to me. I'm not in that zip code. I'm really not. But I'm happy to be here, and you have to drag me off. But it's such an honor. It's hard to tell you my feelings. Anyway, a lot of things that I was going to say. Actually, if I put my glasses on, probably help read this thing.
There you go.
A teacher told me a long time ago, find something that you love to do and then somehow find a way to get paid for it. So, as the story said, in 1961, my brother came home and, you know, the team was going to be canceled. The season was going to be canceled, 8th grade football, at a little place called Little Flower Catholic High School, where Katie Ledecky went. And so that's one thing I have to be famous about. I went to the same elementary school that Katie Ledecky did. But anyway, the priest said, you can do it until I find somebody else, and that was 57 years ago. And it was, you know, the best thing ever happened to me. However, You know, in 56 years of coaching football, you know, I never made a tackle, and I never caught a pass, and I never scored a touchdown. I had an awful lot of help. And I'd be remiss by not saying a few things. To be a successful high school coach, you need 5 very, very important parts. Number one, you got to have great players. And of course, one of them sitting over there. Actually, there's a bunch more from Springbrook sitting right in here that I just noticed. But you got to have great players. And over the years, we had 9 of them that got to the NFL, and over 300 of them went and played college football. You got to have great coaches. And I had dozens of those. Not too many of them are here because they're all coaching football Friday night. They all got games. All of them are still coaching. But a couple of them are. John Haberman, I worked with John for 26 years. Gary Robertson, who's sitting back there, we coached together for a long, long time. Third thing is, you need great administrators. You have to have them. And over the years, I've been exposed with some great ones. My first boss was Morgan Wooten. You probably heard of him. My second boss is Dr. Darrell Shaw, the longtime principal of Whitman High School. Then I worked for Dr. Thomas Marshall at Springbrook for 18 years. And Jack Graham at Good Counsel after that. Art Ramos, the president of Good Counsel, who actually hired me there. And I see that our present president, Dr. Barker, is sitting back there. Doctor, thank you for coming. And somebody else, if I missed anybody, I really do apologize. Thousands of great parents and supporters of the program, thousands of them. You obviously couldn't mention too many of them. But, and last, and certainly not least, my family, my wife of 44 years, Susan. Thank you. I coached my oldest boy, Brendan, played tackle for me on a state championship team at Sherwood, and the second one, Robbie, played for 3 years, and I did coach Kelly in lacrosse, as she said. I'm the oldest child of 10, and we grew up on 7 Locks and Bradley Boulevard. In 1953, we moved in there, so we've been in Montgomery County for longer than I want to tell you, but 72 years, and my mother is still alive. She couldn't come tonight, but she's 94 years old, and she'd have liked to have been here, but she's not. I do have my brother Timmy and my sister Mary Lou. I don't know if anybody else is there. And my niece Lauren is there. They're sitting right there. Thank you for coming. And I read a book by Bud Grant, the famous football coach of the Minnesota Vikings. And Bud Grant says, you ever get in front of people, he says, you got to remember, you got to stand tall so they can see you. And you got to speak loudly so they can hear you. And you got to speak slowly so they understand you. And you got to speak briefly so they'll like you. So in closing, I had the best job in the world. I did it and loved every minute of it. I used to look forward to getting up and going to work. And it's a privilege and an honor rather to be called coach. It makes me smile every time I hear it. Thank you very much.
Bob Milloy, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Just one question. By the way, is Susan, do we lose Susan?
Susan, come on up here, Susan.
No, is Susan still here?
Oh, wait.
Well, yes, the way Kelly described it, we should have made your house a sitcom with the coaches and the hanging out. And congratulations to Susan for taking care of him and about 4 other coaches every week. That's great. Hey, Bob, you said you were told the key to life is finding something you like, are passionate about, and get paid for it. You did it for so many years. What was it about coaching? What did you like so much that you wanted to do it and get paid for it?
Honestly, just being after school with those kids every day, they made you laugh. And there were some tough times also, but it's just when you went out and you beat somebody, maybe that was better than you, and the look on their faces like, you told us we could do that, and that's what it's all about, and the fact that you can see guys like Sean Springs and the rest of those guys sitting there every now and then is just what it's all about.
Congratulations to Bob and Lloyd. A real Hall of Famer making an impact.